Hello and a very good evening. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. This is the news tonight with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Delay in the cremation of Bollywood actor Sridevi. Dubai government releases post-mortem report giving drowning in the hotel bathtub as the reason for her death. Public prosecution authorities to complete legal procedures before releasing her body to the family. Special court allows Enforcement Directorate to seek information from 6 countries about the overseas assets of Nirav Modi. The letter is rogatory to be sent to Hong Kong, US, UK, UAE, South Africa and Singapore in the 11,000 crore rupees PNB fraud case. Finance Ministry lists 9,500 non-banking financial companies as high-risk financial institutions. Many of these NBFCs had converted banned currency notes after demonetization by receiving cash as deposits and issuing backdated FDs and checks. Voting for assembly elections in Meghalaya and Nagaland to take place tomorrow. Over 18 lakh voters in Meghalaya and over 11 lakh in Nagaland to decide the fate of candidates for 59 seats in both states. And in Karnataka, the BJP and Congress trade charges at public rallies. BJP President Amit Shah hits out at state government for lack of development in backward regions. Congress President Rahul Gandhi questions the centre over bank fraud cases. Well, the cremation of Bollywood actor Sridevi was delayed today after the Dubai authorities released a post-mortem report saying she died of accidental drowning in her hotel bathtub after losing consciousness. Earlier reports had said that she died of a cardiac arrest. The Dubai government gave out this information on Monday evening, giving a dramatic twist to the legendary actor's sudden death on Saturday. It also said that the case has been transferred to the Dubai public prosecution that will carry out regular legal procedures. It is not clear what caused Sridevi to lose consciousness. It is also not clear when her mortal remains will be flown to Mumbai from Dubai. Born on 13th August 1963, Sri Amma Ayyappan, better known by her stage name Sridevi, began her film career at the age of 4, giving up studies to rise to become the first female superstar of Bollywood. Here's a look at the life and times of Sridevi.
India's Chandni, the country's first female superstar, Sridevi. Brightest among the country's acting talent. Now, her memory shines bright. Beginning her career as a child artist in M.A. Tirumugam's 1969 devotional film Tunivan at the age of 4, Sridevi went on to act in several Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada and Hindi films. Her Bollywood debut was in July in 1975. This was followed by Solva Savan. But it was not until her pairing with Jitendra in the 1983 blockbuster Himmatwala that Sridevi found her firm footing in the Hindi film industry. She went on to do a string of remakes of South Indian films opposite Jitendra. In 1983, Sridevi proved her acting mettle in the Hindi remake of the Tamil film Mondram Pirai, Sadma, opposite Kamala Hassan. It was a kind of romance not seen before in Hindi cinema. Sridevi stunned everyone with her performance. parallel streams of critical and commercial hits continued for her. On the one hand were the insanely popular Snake Woman films through the 80s, Nagina and Nigahein. But her career-defining act was Mr. India in 1987. Her mimicry of Charlie Chaplin and her Rain song became some of the most powerful images of the Hindi film industry. The Yash Chopra film Chandni in 1989. Her on-screen name in the film continued to stay with her long after. The last major film Sridevi starred in before she took a break following her marriage was Judai, released in 1997. Sridevi returned to film acting in 2012 with a successful comedy drama English. Mehdi Nebu, who played her French admirer in the film, famously described her eyes as two drops of coffee in a cloud of milk. She then starred in her 300th film role in the 2017 thriller Mom. In 2013, the Government of India awarded Sridevi the Padma Shri, the country's fourth highest civilian accolade for her contributions to the entertainment industry.
Well, may her soul rest in peace. Indeed, a big loss as far as Bollywood and the Indian film fraternity is concerned. Let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some news from the poll-bound states of the Northeast. Well, the stage is set for the crucial assembly elections in the two northeastern states of Meghalaya and Nagaland. Polling will be held between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Tuesday. At some polling stations in the interior districts of Nagaland, the polling process will conclude at 3 p.m. Both Meghalaya and Nagaland have a 60-member house each, but voting will be held for 59 constituencies in both states. Now, in Meghalaya, the election has been countermanded in William Nagar in the wake of the killing of NCP candidate Jonathan N. Sangma. Sangma died in an IED blast in East Garo Hills district on February 18th. Meanwhile, in Nagaland, NDPP chief Nephew Rio was declared elected unopposed from the northern Angami 2 constituency. Results of the polls in the two states will be declared on March 3rd along with that of Tripura. In Meghalaya, there are 370 candidates in the fray, including 32 women. 18.4 lakh voters are eligible to exercise their franchise at 3,083 polling stations in the state. Chief Electoral Officer of Meghalaya, F.R. Karkongor, said 67 all-women polling stations and 61 model polling stations have been set up in the state for the first time. The Congress party has fielded candidates on all 59 seats that go to polls, while 47 BJP candidates are in the fray. Meanwhile, in Nagaland, 11,91,503 voters are eligible to exercise their franchise on Tuesday. Voting will be conducted at 2,156 polling stations, of which 1,100 have been declared critical. There are also 177 all-women polling stations across 25 constituencies in the state. Well, joining me live from Shillong now is our correspondent Ravindra Sharon. Ravindra Sharon, polling of course to take place tomorrow. What is the kind of preparation that is in place to ensure free and fair and smooth polling?
Yeah, good evening, Frank. Tomorrow is the polling will start around in the morning at 7 a.m. and the selection is quite crucial. Especially Election Commission has taken all the major steps to conduct a peaceful, fair and free election this time. Because as we seen in 18th of February when in IED blast, Jonathan Sangma, the leader of NCP who was killed, After that, this was a big challenge for the Election Commission to conduct a free and fair election, and especially this is the paramount consideration for the Election Commission to give sanguinity and confidence to the people of Meghalaya that they should come and cast their vote in large number because of the fear because of which came after that blast took place and which claimed 4 lives. The Election Commission has ordered, and it was with the help of the CAPF and all the local police that they start a counter-insurgency operation, and which ultimately killed the leader of the GNLA, who was considered as behind the attack which was conducted on Jonathan Sangma. Election Commission has this time more than 103 companies of CAPF has already been deployed here. Various action has been taken. People here are the Election Commission has campaigned very vociferously and vigorously. They have tried to reach out to the people who are living in the far areas of Garo Hills and the Jayantia Hills, just to ensure that it will be a peaceful election, and they should come and cast their ballot tomorrow and take part in the dance of democracy. Frank, one most important thing is here is that this time VVPAT will also be used in this election, and Prime Minister Modi, who has himself led the party from the front, the BJP has this time staged a very vigorous campaign this time, and they tried to gain some foothold and to extend their footprints in this northeastern hilly state. With the BJP is one of the very crucial party this time.
Indeed, an important day tomorrow, of course. Moving on from Shillong now, let's go across to Kohima to try and get an update from there. Our correspondent Panchanan Mishra joins us on the phone line. Panchanan Mishra, what are the kind of preparations that are in place, the arrangements being made to ensure that polling goes on smoothly in Nagaland?
Yeah, Frank, Election Commission is purely watchful, and the full security arrangements had been made. We have seen that various paramilitary forces has been called in the state since days before. And the Election Commission has made ensure that there is a foolproof security for the polling day, because it's a sensitive state and many booths are sensitive. And apart from this security scenario, there is a big challenge this time before Election Commission for this clean election campaign, because this time with the Election Commission, the civil society and churches has given the call for clean election, because Nagaland is looking into like a vicious circle of the money trail in all the elections, because in 2013 where there was 980 crore spent on the elections, and the previously 2008 580 crores. So it's like a vicious cycle. So the clean election is a very, very important thing here. And the new alliance which has been made by BJP and NDPP versus NPF is the main front battle between the two fronts are looking, and it has to be seen that what the voters will decide. But the voting turnout was always very good. But the Election Commission has ensured that everybody votes on this polling day.
All right, Panchanan Mishra joining us from Kohima and Ravindra Sharon from Shillong there. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us and bringing us up to date with the latest from those two poll-bound states of the northeast. Meanwhile, of course, Meghalaya's Chief Election Officer has said that elaborate arrangements are in place for the polls. Let's take a listen in to what he had to say.
In terms of enrollment, we've had extremely high enrollment this time, and our total electorate is now standing at around 18,44,000, and amongst this 18,44,000, about 89,000 are in the 18 to 19 age category.
89.
Yes.
First-time voters.
First-time voters. And recently, when the Election Commission came here, under the leadership of the Chief Election Commissioner, he was very happy to share that this 89,000, voters of 18 to 19 age category, which is standing at 4.5% of the electorate, is in fact one of the highest in the country. Oh. So these efforts were appreciated by the Election Commission, that we have, in terms of percentage, one of the highest, registered 18 to 19 voters, in that age category. Then, if you come to the breakup of the male-female, being a gender-sensitive state, our female voters are in fact much more than the male voters also. Out of 18,44,000, which I was just mentioning to you, approximately 9,29,000 are females and about 9,12,000 are males. Oh. So that's also another unique feature about Meghalaya. Apart from that, we have done intensive awareness for EVM VVPATs, because this is the first time that VVPAT will be used in all the 3,083 polling stations. So a series of sweep measures, sweep meaning the systematic voter education and electoral participation program, has been initiated in all the 3,083 polling stations in all the 60 assembly constituencies, spread over all the 11 districts of the state.
Well, around 85% of electors cast their votes at the 6 polling stations on Monday, where repolling was held after the Election Commission declared void the polling at these centres on the 18th of February. One such polling station falls in Dhanpur segment, from where Chief Minister and CPIM Politburo member Manik Sarkar is contesting. Polling for 59 of the 60 assembly seats was held in Tripura on February 18th. Polling was countermanded in the Charilam constituency due to the death of CPIM candidate Ramendra Narayan Debarma ahead of the election. The results will be declared on March 3rd. Well, from the poll-bound states in the northeast to South India now, where BJP President Amit Shah on Monday hit out at Karnataka's Congress government for the lack of development in the backward regions of the state. Shah also asked the other backward classes to vote out the Siddaramaiah government in the upcoming elections. The BJP leader claimed that the Congress government is not letting the benefits of various central schemes reach the right beneficiaries. Shah, who is on a 3-day visit to North Karnataka region, was interacting with leaders of OBC communities in Kalburgi.
5 साल तक भ्रष्टाचार में आकंठ डूबी है सरकार। अगर भ्रष्टाचार कैसे करना है, ज्यादा कौन करता है, उसकी स्पर्धा अगर हम कर ले तो पूरे देश में कर्नाटक के मुख्यमंत्री जी को नंबर 1 देना पड़ेगा, 1 नंबर।
Meanwhile, Congress President Rahul Gandhi on Monday questioned Prime Minister Modi over delay in appointing a Lokpal to fight corruption. Rahul Gandhi also questioned Prime Minister Modi over his silence on issues such as the Punjab National Bank fraud. Congress President is on the second leg of his 3-day tour of Karnataka. Assembly polls are expected soon in the state.
जब वो यहाँ आए, आप उनसे पूछिए, मोदी जी आपने 2 करोड़ युवाओं को रोजगार देने का वायदा किया था, आपने ये वायदा पूरा क्यों नहीं किया? आपने किसानों को कहा था कि सही दाम दिलवाएंगे अनाज के लिए, आपने वो भी नहीं किया। खोखे वायदे करते हैं, झूठे वायदे करते हैं।
Another news now, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, also known as Veer Savarkar, is being remembered on his 52nd death anniversary today. Tributes were paid to the great freedom fighter. Political leaders recalled him as the epitome of selflessness, patriotism and courage. Savarkar died on this day in 1966. He was involved in the political murder of 3 British officials. An Indian pro-independence activist, he advocated the reconversion of the converted Hindus back to Hindu religion. He coined the term Hindutva to create a collective Hindu identity. Going on now, a Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist was killed on Monday after his accomplices lobbed a hand grenade at a police station in Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir. The terrorist Mushtaq Ahmad Chopin was killed in an attempt by his accomplices to free him. A constable was also injured in the incident. A magisterial inquiry has been initiated to look into the circumstances under which the terrorist was trying to escape. A Mumbai court on Monday allowed the Enforcement Directorate's plea to issue letters rogatory to 6 countries in connection with the Nirav Modi case. Billionaire diamond jeweller Nirav Modi is at the centre of a 11,400 crore rupees PNB fraud. The ED was seeking the LRs for obtaining information about the overseas businesses and assets of Nirav Modi. Letters rogatory are requests from a court of a sovereign nation to a court of another sovereign nation. Meanwhile, the CBI has sought data from chief vigilance officers of 5 banks where transactions took place on basis of letters of undertaking to Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi. It has written to Canara Bank, Bank of India, State Bank of India, Allahabad Bank and Axis Bank seeking financial transactions into the Nostro accounts of the PNB. Well, the CBI on Monday issued lookout circulars against all accused of Delhi-based jeweller Dwarka Das Seth International Private Limited in the alleged 389.85 crore rupees loan fraud, at Oriental Bank of Commerce. The 4 directors of the company named as accused by the CBI in the case are Sabya Seth, Rita Seth, Krishna Kumar Singh and Ravi Singh. The CBI said that the LOCs have been issued to restrict their movement. Dwarka Das Seth International Private Limited, its subsidiary Dwarka Das Seth SEZ Corporation, and the 4 directors were booked by the agency based on a complaint of the bank. The Delhi Development Authority will consider several recommendations made by the stakeholders to provide respite to the people of Delhi from the ceiling drive. The recommendations include uniform floor area ratio on shop-cum-residence complexes, uniform norms for utilization of basement in all shop-cum-residential complexes, among others. The recommendations also take into account concerns raised by a Supreme Court with respect to environment, pollution, fire safety measures for life and safety of the people.
But the search for a solution has been predicated on the same motivation which has guided the Supreme Court and which has guided all of us in this. That is, there is a master plan. We have to look after the facilities and amenities which the average citizen of Delhi enjoys.
Well, Jordanian King Abdullah II will begin a 3-day visit to India on Tuesday. The visit is being seen as an indicator of India's increasing profile in the Arab world. The Jordanian king will have a summit-level meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. Defence, security, investment as well as resolution of the Palestinian issue will be the main focus of the talks between the Prime Minister and King Abdullah II. Ties with Jordan are seen as strategically important for India. During the king's visit, both sides will aim to further boost ties in several key areas and look to finalize a framework for defence and security cooperation. India is a huge contributor in Jordan's refugee welfare program for over 1 million refugees. During the visit, the Jordanian king will also have meetings with technical giants of India at IIT Delhi and deliver a lecture on the essence of Islam on Thursday morning. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu presented the Prime Minister Shram Awards on Monday. Vice President asserted that India is being hailed as the economic hope of the globe. He underlined and acknowledged the importance of a Shram Shakti or labour force that is driving a range of processes of production which are critical to economic growth and development. Here's more.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Monday felicitated 338 Prime Minister Shram awardees in the national capital. He stressed that growth, driving power and great dedicated persons are critical in improving the gross domestic product. The Vice President added that rules that come in the way of creating jobs and running enterprises need to be revisited.
I venture to say that the real GDP, this is a real GDP festival. By this I mean, what is GDP? Growth driving power, GDP, growth driving power. Among them, you are the great dedicated persons, another GDP, great dedicated persons. And they are being honored today. If these two GDPs are critical and they join together, then you will have gross domestic product. That is the GDP of the government, this thing. So, we must all be ultimately concerned with that.
Vice President Naidu said harmonization of indirect taxes through GST will result in greater gains for all Indians and make a huge contribution for the advancement of the nation.
I will tell you, my friends, I am saying it from Vijnana Bhavan here. Wait for 1 year or 2 years. The revenue for the government will increase considerably. And the money for the welfare of the people will also have a quantum jump and people will be benefited. That is the purpose of the reform. But initially there will be problems. Initially there will be problems. You have to face a situation where the finance minister was saying because of GST this much revenue has gone down initially.
The government had announced 194 Prime Minister Shram Awards for 2011 to 2016 in 4 categories, namely the Shram Ratna Award, Shram Bhushan Award, Shram Veer, Shram Virangana and Shram Shri Shram Devi Awards. Workers with the central and the state governments and the private sector units employing 500 or more were awarded for their distinguished performance and innovative ability. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Bulletin. Good night.